Hi everyone, my name is Carmen Peut and welcome to Modern Adulthood Summit. I'm your host. We're here to talk about how to establish a clear identity, develop intimate relationships, build your career, and still enjoy your adult life. We want to help young adults to navigate to adulthood with lots of support, with lots of right information and guidance. So today I have an amazing guest with me, and her name is Jennifer Nacif. Jennifer graduated from University of Colorado in international relations. However, she was always interested in topics of psychology and human behavior. So no wonder that Jennifer specializes in business and love relationships. Jennifer is also a speaker, an author, consultant, and also a proud mother. Jennifer is an acknowledged lecturer and well-known TV and radio personality. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you very much, Carmen.
You're welcome. Jenny, first, I would like to ask you, how was it when you were young? How was your family like, your family of origin?
Okay, well, I come from a very diverse background. My dad was born in Mexico, but his parents are from Lebanon. They came on a ship from Lebanon and to Mexico, and my mom is American, and she was born in the States and came to learn Spanish, and she's an American Jewish woman, and my dad is a Mexican Lebanese Catholic Orthodox man.
Oh my gosh.
So I have a great diverse background.
Okay. So what kind of personality were you as a young adult? Like,
I was actually a really boring, mature adolescent. My mom is a psychologist, and she kept telling me, you're supposed to rebel. You're supposed to show yourself against me. It's healthy. And I was like, I don't need to, sorry. So I was very well behaved since I was young, never felt the need to, to break from my parents or any of that.
yeah. So basically, what type of personality are you? Because I think that you have like 4 TEDx talks.
Right.
2 of them
5.
in English.
I have 3 in English and 2 in Spanish.
Oh, okay, then I was...
Sorry, 3 in Spanish, 2 in English.
Okay, then I was right, 2 in English.
Right.
And you talk about that all of us, like each of us is a different personality. So which type, can you tell me something, for the audience, something about this?
Okay, all my books, I have 3 books, and they're all based on the 4 personality styles. Mm-hmm. And the first person who spoke about it was Hippocrates, who called them the choleric, the phlegmatic, etc., etc. Then you had Carl Jung, who also spoke on personality styles. He had another name. You have the DISC, you have Myers-Briggs, you have the Enneagram that has 9 personality styles. But everybody came from Hippocrates. He was a really first innovator. And the 4 personality styles that everything is based on are what I call, because everyone calls them differently, the dominant style, the social, the patient, the analytical. This doesn't mean that other people don't have a bit of that, but it's not what is most pervasive in their style. So let me give you a little summary on the 4 styles. First, the dominant is the most direct of the 4. Is, let's say, energetically, it's fire. It is explosive, it is direct, it says what it thinks, it's hard, it's energetic, explosive, and under pressure, it's the one that lights up the fastest. It's very driven, very self-driven, and it's their style is strong, their tone of voice is high, direct. That's like, let's say, a very short summary. And then let's say, and you have healthy dominance and you have unhealthy dominant styles, let's say. So for example, a very famous, let's say, healthy D style would be, or dominant would be like Oprah Winfrey. She's very direct. She says what she thinks. She's very clear. She's energetic. and she's a healthy style.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on the other side, because the D is very ego driven.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a healthy ego or an unhealthy ego. So
Mm-hmm.
an unhealthy D example would be a very easy one to think of, Mr. Trump, for example. That's an egotistical, unhealthy, very driven by his own ego and trying to show everybody who he is through his self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the D. Then we go to the S, which is the social.
Mm-hmm.
So, or in the disc, it's called the inspirational. The I's are the people who want to inspire the world. They're happy, they're talkative, they're very friendly. You know, those are the people who make friends everywhere. Like you're waiting in a waiting room for the doctor and they're already talking to all the neighbors. They have a lot of contacts. They reach out to people in an easy way. They're generally very warm. So that's the social people.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the patients, what I call patient. That doesn't mean they're always that patient, but they have a slower pace. They're calmer, softer tone of voice. They're like the people who have the like the caring style, you know, your Mandelas, your Gandhis. You generally you find these people always helping others. They're very empathic. I mean, all four can be empathic, but the patient style is very naturally empathic, let's say. And last but not least, the analytical style are the typical, you know, glasses. They don't have to use glasses, but generally they're like what we call the nerds or the very studious visual people who are always detail orientated, organized, structured. They always know where things are. Generally, they have the most orderly homes. Even when you enter an office or even see the clothes of people, you can tell their personality styles just by one thing of their lives. You can find that.
Mm-hmm. So with these types of personalities that you described, you actually wanted to help people and also especially parents to have a better understanding to their children, right?
Right. Well, the first time I took this course was from my mom, because my mom used to be a professional speaker. Yeah. And I used to take many courses from her. Some I was more crazy than others because she's of the personality style. She's a social first language, and her second language is the patient. So she's very emotional, very warm, and I'm more the dominant, so I'm more practical. So when she would talk about very emotional subjects, like let's get fear by the hand and walk with it. For me, it's like, oh God, Jesus, you know, I know it's important. It's good to take fear by the hand. But for me, it was like, really? Seriously? And so when she gave me the course on the styles, to me, it was like amazing. I thought that was as important as learning how to read. I think it's a very helpful tool anywhere for parents. It's a godsend because, for example, I give this course for sales or for business, but it's not the same thing when you understand how you're supposed to sell to someone than when you understand how to talk to your kids. I mean, that for someone, it's gold, you know? The other one, it'll help you get a paycheck. When you get through it to your kids, it's life-changing. So it's helpful in anywhere and any area. But one of the most valuable things to me from the temperamental styles and understanding what motivates each of them. I have a business course that's called How to Play Chess and Not Checkers. Because checkers, wait, let me make sure in English it's the same because in Spanish it's different. Which of the two is a harder one to play, chess or checkers? Do you know? Because in Spanish, ajedrez is the hard one. And damas chinas is the easy one.
Easy one. Okay.
So I'm not sure. Well, I'll just say the hard one and the easy one.
Yeah.
So the one that's harder to play, which is much harder, every little chip or little people, let's say, have a different role. Whereas I think it's checkers, they're just little circles and they all do the same thing. So one is much easier to play. You learn it faster. You play it faster. But if you really want to get through to people, you have to understand what temperament they are and what moves them, what motivates them to really reach them in a profound way.
Mm-hmm. So actually this helps in any area of our lives, personal and also professional.
Absolutely. I have this course for relationships, for couples, where you even study like even your libido, your sexual desire, for example. I do it with adolescents, even when they're dating, because once you know their personality style, you more or less know what to expect, who will be the most. We can all be loyal, and it has to do with values, but there are some personality styles who look for more variety than others, let's say. No, so you get to know a lot of things from someone just by understanding their style. So when you're dating, it helps a lot. With your kids, it helps. And in business, for your boss, understanding what style your boss is helps you very much on how you're going to propose to them your new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Do you, Jenny, do you work with a lot of young people?
Well, in the business, I do I do coaching. So I do a lot of, in the coaching, I do teenagers, I do adults. And in the speeches, I do a lot of in businesses, and you find all ages. So yes, I work with all kinds of ages.
What would be, because, young people are, mostly struggling, or, it's the time of age when you are trying to develop intimate and lasting relationships that in time they, create families. So how would you help young adults to create, healthy, intimate relationships so that they could, cope with each other and be more understanding and
The first thing you have to find out, the most important thing, Carmen, is yourself. If you don't know your limitations and you are hurt, let's say, or you have your wounds, you're gonna end up finding someone with different wounds, because you're looking for someone to cure you instead, or complete you. You know, the typical movie, you complete me. Well, if you're not complete yourself, then you will look for that. Even if now, people say, don't look for, the other piece of the orange. You should be the whole orange, no? Not the other half. Don't look for your other half. You should be a whole orange and find another whole orange. But if you have wounds and you're not, you haven't found out everything about you, and you're hurting from your past or from your childhood, then all those things are gonna take you to make the wrong decisions. Choose someone who's gonna supposedly help you cure them. So the first thing you have to do is be 100% healthy yourself, or I guarantee you're gonna make the wrong choices. I've been wanting, someday I will write it, a book that has to do with relationships, because I always keep saying, you should always go full to the table. And people's like, no, you should go hungry, because if you're hungry, you're gonna eat. No, because when you're hungry, you make the wrong decisions. When you're really hungry, what do you order? Everything in the menu. You keep asking for more. You order the things that are the most fattening, instead of really ordering what your body needs. Your body just needs a little bit of protein, a little bit of salad. But when you're hungry, you don't listen to your body. You just want to eat no matter what comes the fastest and the fattest. You want the greasy stuff. So it's the same with us. If we are hurting and we're needy about emotional things, we're going to make the wrong choices, because we're urgently needing someone to cover them. So the first and most important thing is work with yourself, cure yourself until you're 100% healthy. Don't go out and look for someone else.
Jenny, you are well-known TV and also radio personality, and there is lots of lots of shows that you are invited, and you can find you also on YouTube and but unfortunately I couldn't understand because they're Spanish. But what are the most common topics that you are invited to, and what is your main message to the public? Maybe parenting or
It depended on the area. If it was, for example, on parenting, the TED talk I give on how to motivate and not manipulate kids,
Yeah.
that subject really resonated with people, because generally what do? We try to give, as parents, we punish or we give gifts. No, if you do this, I will give you this, or so much money, or this prize. And if you don't do it, I will punish you. Those are short term. They work short term, but they don't intrinsically change anybody. They just get you from A to B, from the first stage to that moment. And that's, I think, a very cheap way to get through to people. If you understand what really moves people, then you motivate them to get to where you want them to be through motivation, not manipulation, not prizes and then punishments.
Jenny, you are well known in a business world also.
Yes.
And throughout the years, and working with different companies and giving workshops, you also wrote a book called The 4 Secrets of Business.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Sure. In The 4 Secrets of Business, which is based on my talk on why great leaders play chess and not checkers, it speaks on that, on really getting to know before it used to be in fashion that in the business world you're supposed to be, harsh and just tell people what to do. But it's been proven through the years that the best leaders are the ones who really get to know their people well, who really know their lives, who take care on what's happening to them. Before, we used to think that was like fragility, no? Or a woman's quality that men shouldn't have, and it wasn't even good to be like that, because getting attached in the business world to the people, that was more a feminine thing and a weak thing. But it's been proven that those kind of leaders who really get in touch with their people, who know who they are, who get a personal relationship with, are the best leaders and get the best results. Why? Because they get true loyalty. Not out of fear, not because I'm going to be punished, or not because I'm going to get paid, because I want to be loyal to this person that I admire and I respect, and this person who really understands me. So my book speaks on those personality styles so that the leaders can get to understand, and especially, Carmen, what is very important, in Spanish we have a saying that says, no le pidas peras al olmo, which means, let's say, don't ask pears to the apple tree. The apple tree gives apples and you keep asking for pears, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to get frustrated. And if the tree were a person, well, the tree would be frustrated, because if it's an apple tree, it's not going to give you pears. So for a leader, it's really important understanding the personality styles, because each style has certain strengths and certain things that flows easier than others. So let's say if you ask for an analytical style to be the most PR or public relations style, I mean, they can learn to do it, but they'll never be as efficient as a social style, which for them, they don't even have to learn to do it. That's part of their DNA, their blood, you know? So a good leader understands these different styles and knows where to position each one for success and not for failure.
Very good. Jenny, what would be your advice to young people, because also they're in the stage of building their careers, finding work? What would be your advice to them, how to get out and find what they truly, like to? And
want out of the life. Well, my latest book is The Soul of Success, which is in Spanish. I'm translating it. It'll be in English.
Oh, great.
Soon. So my sister, when she read it, she was like, why didn't I read it when I was a teenager? I would have given my life knowing the things. In my book, The Soul of Success, I give 7 steps. 7 steps, not only to find success, but the difference between success and the soul of success is how to feel fulfilled in life. So the most important thing is first discovering your strengths. Most of us, if I ask people, what are your weaknesses? You're going to give me a huge list. You know your weaknesses and you know them in detail. But if I ask you your strengths, generally we just know them like very general. Like, I think I'm good speaking. I'm a good oral speaker, let's say, or I'm a good public relations person. But if you ask for people in detail what their strengths are, they're going to fall much shorter than in their weaknesses. And it's much more important to understand our strengths. Why? Because if you work really hard on your weaknesses, you know what's going to happen? You'll be less bad. Great. But only when you work really hard in your strengths, that's where you become wonderful. That's when you shine. That's when you will really become the best of who you are. So for all the young people who are seeing us, their work, that what they have to do is first find out what their strengths are. But most of us don't even know them. So what you have to do, for example, is get to the people that know you the best and ask them. Because sometimes you don't even know those are strengths. When I did this, they were like, oh, well, your energy. And I'm like, my energy, big deal. Is that a strength? I mean, isn't that normal? Doesn't everybody have the strength, the energy I do? No, barely anyone. I'm like, oh, so that's a strength. So many times our strengths come so easily to us, we don't know their strengths. Or for example, your empathic way of listening, or your warmth to making someone feel at home. Those are strengths. Those are things that come to us in an easy way, but that will help us shine in life. So you have to find all your strengths, write them down, and then work them to make them part of your life. Make sure you're using them in whatever career you're choosing. Because if what you're doing doesn't incorporate your strengths, you won't be able to shine as much. So incorporate your strengths in everything you do and make sure you use them often. There's a statistic, Carmen, that appalls me, but really worries me. There's a Gallup statistics study to find out how often we do what we do best. So you would hope that most people, we do, well, at least, if not every day, 5 days a week, no? Pretty often what we do best, because that's where we're gonna shine. And you know what the result is? It's appalling. The result of this Gallup, which is a great company for statistics, found is only 12%. Listen to this. 12% of us, only 12% do what they do best every day. That means that 88% of us, most of the days, are doing what we do mediocrely or halfway or bad. So imagine, how can we shine or be happy? Because when you do things that you don't do that well, you don't enjoy them, you procrastinate, you don't shine, you get tired, and sometimes you even get sick. When you have to do the work of things you don't like to do, it's a pain. So we're not enjoying what we're doing. Most human beings, 88%, are in that category. So it's really sad. And all that comes in the book.
Oh, yeah.
In the Soul of Success.
Yeah, it's interesting because a few days ago, I had an interview with John Coyle, and he was saying the exact thing as you do.
Okay.
When he was a professional athlete, they were working on his weaknesses. And that led him to actually quit in the end. Because,
of course.
Because he was coming worse and worse and worse. So
obviously, yeah. I mean, it's amazing that nowadays we see that still. It makes it's as if it were a triathlete, let's say, no? And let's say that you could compete with 3 people, the triathlon. One could do bike, one runs, and one swims. And what you do the best is swimming. If you're a great swimmer and they're gonna make you run, and then the one who runs great is gonna swim, what's gonna happen? You're not gonna come in first place ever. You're not gonna do it well. You're not gonna be fast. You're not gonna enjoy it. And that's how our lives are. So what you're saying is very true, and it's very sad, because when they keep, you're struggling on your weaknesses, it's frustrating, it puts you in a bad mood, you feel bad about yourself, you feel upset, and it only brings you down, 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 because you're losing. But when you work on your strengths, and it's proven at a neurological level,
Mm-hmm.
in a book from Marcus Buckingham called The One Thing. There's a very interesting study about cells and the brain, that when you work on your strengths, the connections grow like 100 times faster. Let's say if you're a tree and you work on your strengths, you would get 20 branches when you're working on your strengths. But when you're working on your weaknesses and you're a tree, after the same time, instead of 10 branches, you would get one leaf. Because the connections in our brain, when you're working on our weaknesses, are very slow to connect and to grow, and very frustrating. And they lead to frustration, and they lead to failure.
Jenny, I think that the book that you mentioned just now, I think that I actually have it.
Okay.
I think that it is the same book, because I was looking for this author, and I think that he offers the book online for free. If it's this, I would need to check.
I'm not sure. Marcus Buckingham is very well known on the subject on strengths and weaknesses. He has many TED Talks and speaks on that subject specifically, on many others. He has another very good book that's called First Break All the Rules. They're some of his most famous books. I don't know if it's the same author.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would the title, I think, is the same. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna be, I guess.
There's another one. There's another book called The One Thing.
Yeah.
But that one, I'm not. I read it. I wasn't too crazy about it.
Okay.
I didn't like it that much, because there are two.
Okay.
The one I really liked is the one from Marcus Buckingham. The other one is not bad, but it has more common information for me.
Okay, because I have it on my computer, but I haven't read it yet, so that's why I'm not sure. Okay, good.
I wasn't too crazy for it, honestly.
Okay.
I love the Marcus Buckingham one much more.
Yeah, it's like the same thing when you read a book and then they make a movie. It's not something like that.
Exactly.
Jenny, you are also a parent.
Yes.
How old are your kids?
16 and 14-year-old girls.
Oh, tell me, what kind of a parent are you trying to be to them?
Okay, I believe in leading by example. And I believe in letting them learn by their own experiences. And I believe on letting them make decisions and finding out on their own. Because if you're always on top of them, they don't get to experience what they should do. And I think there's two extremes, not to be always on top of them or to be just, whatever. I think the middle of the ground, guidance, your opinion, what you believe, but letting them take the decisions and letting them understand what the consequences will be. But you have to live with your own consequences, natural consequences, not invented consequences. You know what I mean? And I choose a lot in my book. One of the 7 steps, a very important step, is narratives. There's a wonderful book by Timothy Wilson called Redirect, one of my favorite books, and I've read many books on behavioral economics. And I actually chose that subject as one of my 7 steps, which is how we choose our narratives, or what we tell ourselves, and how we choose our narratives with our kids. Because when your child is growing up and you keep telling them, oh, you're so irresponsible, oh, you're so irresponsible, guess what? Even if they're not, they will become irresponsible, because that's their narrative. So it's very important what messages we're sending, what narratives we're telling our kids, what narratives or messages we're telling ourselves. So that's a very important part of parenting and in everything in our lives. And I really highly recommend that book. Even explains how narratives affect delinquents, and how different even experiments and things that they've done with them, like to help them, have harmed them because they haven't taken care of the narratives they used.
Very good. Jenny, what would be your advice to, a lot of young adults are becoming parents or soon to be parents. What would be your advice to them on this subject?
Okay, the one most important thing is love. I mean, that sounds corny, but when a child feels really awful, love is not Love means unconditional love. Love doesn't mean I love you if you eat this. Love doesn't mean I love you if you behave well. Love doesn't mean I love you if you get a 10. That's conditional love. Unconditional love is I love you no matter what, just because you are my daughter or my son. And when someone feels completely loved for who they are, not by what they do or what they make or what they give back or what they've shown their parent, that person has 80% of the road. There's a lot more things that we can talk about, and values and morals and all these other great parenting tips. But if I could only give one, is do they feel loved unconditionally? Or do they feel they have to make you proud to be loved? Or do they feel they have to get a 10 to love them? Or do they feel they have to have their room cleaned so you can love them?
Jenny, it was so great talking to you. I mean, you gave me such, and to the audience, such a great advices, and I'm glad that you joined me, and thank you so much.
Carmen, thank you for noticing me from so far away.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday we'll get to meet. You can come to Mexico, or I can get to meet you in your country. Hopefully we'll get The Soul of Success in English soon, so that people can buy it in English. And thank you so much for having this initiative and looking for us all over the world so that you can share this with your public.
Oh, thank you. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow, and there is more interviews to come. So see you soon. Bye.